Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you enjoy this video, please smash that thumbs up button and subscribe for more videos like this one. Now, I just want to apologise before we get into today's video that this video is late. Ideally, I wanted to post it at the end of 2025. I wanted to wrap up 2025, tell you some of my good books, ones that I recommend for you to read in 2026. And I also wanted to share my reading goals for 2026, but let's just say the end of 2025 got a little bit crazy and the start of 2026 has just flown by. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. So first of all, let's quickly just wrap up 2025. So I read 27 books. My top genre was thriller, however I did get into romance and I also read my first horror book. I didn't start reading until August, so 27 books I feel like is actually a good achievement. Since starting reading in August, I have found some authors that I absolutely love, which include Freida McFadden, Stephen King, Emily Henry, Abby Jimenez, Lila Sage and Elsie Silver. So I'm going to quickly speed round show you some of my favourite books of 2025 and then we can get into 2026 and I'll share with you my new reading goals. So the first book I'm going to give an honourable mention to is The Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. If it wasn't for her, I would never have picked up a book. However, I picked up this book in a rush, in the works. I needed one for my hospital bag when I went and had my daughter. And honestly, she made me fall in love with reading. So this one had to be included. The next book I wanted to mention was Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I literally fell in love with this book and I cannot wait for this part 2 of this book to come out this year. Another one of my favourites is Lila Sage, Soul Searching. I have heard that she's done a cowboy romance that's definitely on my TBR for 2026. The next book I want to mention is Flawless by Elsie Silver. This was the only book I read in December. That is why I didn't do a December recap of the books I read, because I only read one, so I'll mention it here. I gave this one 5 stars. It's a cowboy romance. Honestly love it. It's the first book in the Chestnut Springs series and I cannot wait to finish the series this year. And the final book I would like to mention is Freida McFadden, The Intruder. Freida McFadden has written some amazing books and I have read a few. I cannot wait to continue reading her books this year, but in particular, The Intruder standing out to me. Also, quickly, the Housemaid series has just been turned into a film and I really want to go and watch it. I did also read that one and gave it 5 stars as well. So all the books I just mentioned I gave 5 stars. So The Intruder by Freida McFadden, Soul Searching by Lila Sage, Flawless by Elsie Silver, The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, the whole series, 5 stars, and Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Let's get on to my goals and wishes for 2026. I just want to say I watched that clip back and I do apologise that I'm out of breath. Where you're positioned, I'm standing on my tippy toes, balancing, and Ivy and Hunter are next door, and Ivy started stirring, so I had to go and run to her, and then I came back, started filming, and then Hunter started stirring, so I had to run back, so I do apologise. Hopefully this one is a little bit less out of breath, but I can't guarantee it. So I first of all want to start off by saying my 5 reading rules for 2026. The first reading rule I'd like to talk about is I would like to complete 3 series by the end of the year. I have quite a few on my bookshelf, which include the Shatter Me series, the Chestnut Springs series, Campus Diaries, the Throne of Glass series, ACOTAR, and as well as loads more. So I'd like to complete 3 if possible by the end of the year, in particular ones that I have started, which the Housemaid series, I need to read book 3. I would also like to read a genre of book that I haven't read this year, and in particular I want it to be sci-fi. I've never read a sci-fi book, neither have I watched a sci-fi film, so I feel like that's probably the best genre to pick. I have always loved fantasy books, and although I haven't actually read one yet, I have quite a few on my bookshelf and I have a few in mind, so I feel like fantasy is not really a fair one to pick. The next reading goal I'd like to achieve by the end of the year is to read 100 books, in particular 50 off my bookshelf. So I own 90 books on my bookshelf and I have read 21 of them. So if I could read 50 of them by the end of the year, that would be perfect. But an even bigger goal, which I don't think is actually achievable, is to read every single book on my bookshelf. So we'll see if we can do that. Make sure you go and follow me over on my TikTok, because I will be doing fun games to help pick some of the books when I'm a little bit more stuck. I have currently started the series Throne of Glass, so once I've finished that series, I will be making a TBR jar or a spinny wheel or something to help me pick books in the future. Talking of the books I want to read, I'm now going to show you 26 books that I want to read in 2026. The first book is Shatter Me, and I really want to start this because it's been on my bookshelf for a while. So this is book number 1. Book number 2 is this one, which is Ninth House by Leopoldo. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Again, this has been on my shelf for a little while, and I don't actually know what this book is about or the genre. So I feel like this is going to be a fun one to pick up at some point this year. The third book I would like to read is Filthy Rich Vampires, and honestly I love vampires, and this one looks really, really good. So this is book number 3. Book number 4 is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I fell in love with The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, so it only makes sense to read another one of her books. The 5th book I would like to read is The Surrogate Mother by Frida McFadden. I don't actually own the physical copy of that book, but it's definitely one I would like to read. Number 6 and 7 are both books by Geneva Rose. I would like to read The Perfect Divorce because I read The Perfect Marriage, and I would also like to read this one, which is Home is Where the Bodies Are. I absolutely love her TikToks and I fell in love with her character. I read the first book by her, which was The Perfect Marriage. Really, really enjoyed it, so it only makes sense to read a few more books by her. The 8th book on my list for 2026 is actually one that I've started, and that is The Assassin's Blade. I'm halfway through this book, absolutely loving it. So if you want my review on that one, then make sure you stick around for my January wrap-up. The book I would like to read is Heartless by Elsie Silver. Again, I want to continue the Chestnut Springs series. This is book 2 in that series. Book 10 and 11 are The Good Girl Complex and Bad Girl Reputation. These have been on my shelf for a while, so it only makes sense to make these books 10 and 11. Book 12 is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I've seen mixed reviews about her books, and I think out of all the ones I own, this is the one that I'm most looking forward to reading. So this is book 12, did I say? I'm losing count. Book 13 will be no surprise to some of you, and that is book 1 in the ACOTAR series. This book is literally everywhere on my For You page, and I cannot see enough people raving about it, so I need to read it in 2026. Book 14 on my 2026 list is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I've actually read this one. This was the first book I read in 2026. So if you'd like my review on this one, then make sure you watch the January wrap-up, but this is book 14. Okay, and then the next books I don't own, so I am going to be reading from my journal because I made a list, so I do apologise. We have The Other Side of Now by Paige, Love Interest by Claire Gilmore, The First Time of Everything by K.L. Walter, Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, Just Friends by Hayley Pan, which actually comes out this year, 7 Year Slip and Dead Romantics by Ashley Patterson, Fighting Spirit by Anna Harrison, The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez, Funny Story by Emily Henry, and finally books 25 and books 26 are Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson and Book Lovers by Emily Henry. So they are my 26 books I would like to read in 2026. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of them and which ones I should prioritise. If you have enjoyed hearing my 2026 goals, and please let me know yours in the comments. If you do have any social medias that involve bookish topics, please let me know in the comments. I would love to make some new friends. I will subscribe, watch, like, you know, if you can return the favour, that'd be greatly appreciated. And yeah, this is the first video of 2026. I do apologise if it's a little bit rushed. I'm literally running on very, very tight time. The babies are due to wake up any minute, and I have been trying to film this all week, so hopefully this is an okay video. But yeah, we'll get back into the filming routine shortly. But yeah, make sure you go follow me on my TikTok because I post more videos over on there, more shorter ones. Yeah.